Okay, I'm actually going to do this a little bit in reverse right now because what I have to talk about is legitimately important. So I'll get to talking about my thoughts on America's Got Talent last night first. It was awesome. I did feel kind of bad for Travis Japan just simply because like how he buzzed him, which yeah, I kind of see why. I mean, they weren't bad or anything. It's just, you know, half the time I couldn't really understand what they were saying. I mean, yeah, they were speaking Japanese, but like, you know what the problem was for them? They weren't very loud. You know what I mean? Like, normally when a boy band is singing, you can actually hear what they're saying, but like, maybe someone's off their microphones, or maybe they're just soft-spoken, but like, you could not hear them at all. But you know, all the other acts, you know, they were great. Kristen Cruz did that one song by Miley Cyrus. Mervyn Varish, you know, he was great. Max Osler, Jordan Conley, Christy Stellers, Blade of Blade was awesome. Like, I don't even know where to begin with them. Urban Crew, Aubrey Burchill, Shu Takada, Miles that was a great performance at the very end. So all in all, last night was a great episode, America's Got Talent. You know, I can't wait to see what the results are. I also can't wait to hear I think next week for the finale, that's when we'll do the wild card. I think the wild card will go first. I think that's what they'll do. I don't know. But anyway, I need to get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Because, I mean, my high is I got to see my dad yesterday. My act of kindness was I actually did a couple things for my grandma. But my low, okay, so no one told me this. So that's my reasoning for what I'm about to say. Nobody told me that school started for a lot of people yesterday. Because for many, many, many years, especially when I was growing up, school would start today, the Wednesday after Labor Day. And the point of that was supposed to be that, you know, a student or possibly a teacher would be able to enjoy their last major holiday, which is Labor Day, in earnest. Because you'd have one more day to, you know, relax. And then you'd start school the next day. But literally the day after Labor Day, the Tuesday after Labor Day, yesterday, like every friend I have who was a parent either had a kid that was going to start school, or they have like one more year before they start school. So needless to say, I'm a bit bummed that I didn't do this video that I'm about to talk about yesterday. Although, to be fair, the video I did talk about yesterday was something I'd been working on for a little while. So, I'm not entirely upset by that. I just wish I did this particular video, you know, today. Or that I did, you know, this particular video I'm going to do today, yesterday. Because of, again, people started school yesterday. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the last couple of years, on the Wednesday after Labor Day, as that was when I would start school growing up. And, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are still starting school today, I guess. In fact, some students are even starting school tomorrow. But for me, it was always Wednesday. So that's when I do it. Basically, I give what's called a back-to-school address. You know, it's that sort of thing I need to talk about because, for all intents and purposes, for a student, summer is over. You know, you had your long break from school. You know, I'm hoping that you got to do everything you wanted to do in the span of that summer. And, you know, you're going back to school. I doubt it's the thing you were looking forward to the most in life. And what could be worse for some students is not only is your summer vacation over and you're going back to school, but you're probably going up a grade level, which would require you to go to a completely different building than what you were used to beforehand. You know, I can definitely tell you from my experience, I mean, the first day of 5th grade, the first day of 6th grade, I was crying. The first day of 7th grade, I was a sobbing mess. Just simply because, like, that was my first day at Horseheads Middle School. Like, it was a brand new experience. It really was. By the time I got to 8th grade and I started, you know, growing up a little bit, not to mention, I would later be involved with something that entirely infuriated me. Going back to school on the first day of school didn't really bother me so much. Even when I went back to high school, or when I went to high school for the first time, you know, as a 9th grader, like, I wasn't like the sobbing mess I was going into 7th grade. In fact, I mean, I was nervous, to be sure. I mean, I was always nervous on the first day of school. I was. But never was it like, but after like but when I started 8th grade, it was never like as bad as 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. I can say that. I mean, but that's because in spite of everything that was going on, you know, I really did try my best to be, you know, a good student, you know, good behavior. I mean, there were some days I did have bad behavior because, you know, I had some friends who were a bit on the rambunctious side, or, you know, the goofing off side. You guys know who you are. And I'm thankful that, you know, I got to know those people. I want to make one thing clear. Like, I'm very thankful that in spite of everything that happened to me from 7th to technically 11th grade, but I'll just say all throughout high school, just because, you know, 1 year out of 6 being a good year, that's not a very good ratio. You know, in spite of everything that happened, I am very thankful that, you know, I did get to go to school. I did have, you know, the experience of, you know, going to class, talking to others, you know, learning. I'm very thankful for that. To this day, I'm very thankful for that. I mean, around, you know, 2020, that's when I started doing my class and session video series that I completed around the beginning of summer 2021. You know, you can watch any of those videos if, you know, if you're not sure about my thoughts of school overall. I'm very thankful I got to go to school. And yes, of course, I was nervous going back too, but, you know, who isn't? You know, it's a new grade, new experience. For a lot of people, it's a brand new building that you're going to. And it can be intimidating. And that's actually best case scenario. Because there's always, personally, I never really struggled with any subjects per se. Although when I got to, you know, math as a junior in high school, that's when math started getting hard for me. Again, look at my class and session video about that. But you know, for other students, it's not so lucky. There is always that one subject that always trips people up, to be sure. And, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. So the best thing I can really do is offer you, you know, some advice and tell you things that you definitely have to do if you want your overall experience to be a good one. I mean, no one's school experience is ever perfect. I can definitely tell you for a fact mine wasn't. But there were some things that definitely made it better, and that's all because I took the time to, you know, do some things that made it easier. Although, before I get into that, I should probably tell you, I did grow up watching Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. So if you don't want to listen to me, I'm pretty sure Ned's Declassified is on Netflix. So, you know, you could probably watch that. But if you really want legitimate advice from, and don't get me wrong, Ned's Declassified is a great show, but let's be real here, it's set in a fictional school, fictional world, all that. Like, this is a real guy with, you know, legit real experiences from school, who's more than happy to give you the advice that you may need, whether you're first going to elementary school or middle school or high school, even college. some of the stuff can really apply for college as well. I mean, for starters, if you're in like middle school and high school, you're obviously going to be switching classes all throughout the course of the day. So, needless to say, or even college, you know, make sure you go to all your classes and be there on time. That is, I mean, it's the sort of thing you would take for granted just because it's probably the easiest thing you could do. But it really is important, to be sure. Another thing is, I mean, this is one thing I am thankful for, is that whether I was at Horseheads or Trinity Pauling or Gettysburg College, I can definitely tell you that I met some extraordinary people over the course of my life. So if there was ever an opportunity for you to talk to people and make friends, school is the place to do it. It is. And, you know, some people choose to homeschool their kids, and, you know, that's fine. There's plenty of opportunities to go out and meet people, to be sure. But for me, school really did provide that sort of environment with which I could, you know, at least learn something every day, while also getting a chance to talk and meet with people. And that was great. And that's one thing about school I'll always cherish, regardless of how middle school and high school was for me. One thing that I absolutely do need to talk about is, and this is probably the best advice I could ever really give you, and that is, if there's something you need help with, or if you have a question, or if you're looking for someone to talk to because, you know, maybe you're going through something that no one else could really talk to you about in a good way, go to your teachers. I can tell you for a fact that I have friends who are teachers, and whenever they have a student who walks up to them and that student asks them for help or advice, they love that. Teachers are supposed to help you. That's their job. They love doing that. They look forward to something like that every single day. There's some teachers that I had growing up that are still teaching now. And I can tell you, they love hearing that. They do. And here's the thing. I had like a treasure trove of really great teachers all throughout, especially my entire academic career, but especially middle school and high school. And I can tell you for a fact, they love talking to students and giving them advice now as much as they did back when I was there. And that was a pretty long time ago. Not to say that they're old or anything, but, you know, it's because they love doing what they do. Absolutely. And that's not to say every teacher was perfect, but that's okay. No teacher is ever perfect. I can tell you right now. I'm sure if I really wanted to break it down, there was probably at least one flaw I could give to each and every single teacher I ever had. I don't want to do that because I'm not going to focus on those flaws. Because at the very end of the day, you know, whether you realize it or not, as a student, teachers are people too. They have their own set of problems that they have in life. And, you know, one thing that definitely makes them feel better is when they offer advice and help to a student. That's just how it is. They love doing that. That's literally what they trained and went to school for their entire lives. Like, I have a bunch of friends who knew for a fact they wanted to be teachers, and they are, for lack of a better word, living their best lives because they are doing what they love to do. And that is awesome. You guys know who you are out there. And, you know, in fact, some teachers I know, some friends I have who are teachers, are actually following in the very footsteps or are implying the very same advice that the teachers that they had told them. Absolutely. Seriously. Especially when I was in choir, and especially at Horseheads High School, like, this one teacher who I will admit, I kind of do have mixed feelings on it, but one thing that this teacher did do is he would offer some like the greatest advice like ever. Like he was the one guy you could talk to and you really wouldn't feel judged or anything like that. He loved giving advice. And some friends I have who had this guy as a teacher as well, they're following in his footsteps. Whether they're teaching choir or just implying some of the wisdom that, you know, that teacher told them. So, again, students, if you're watching this, if you need help or advice on anything, please go to your teachers. They want to help you. That's their job. They love doing that. And if they wanted to, they probably could do that for like 100 years. If, you know, they so wanted to. I mean, obviously they can't do it for that long, but they love giving advice. So please go to your teachers. You know, they love giving advice. They love helping others. They do. It's awesome. You know, I'm not even a teacher, and I love giving advice to others. And again, I'm not even a teacher, and I love giving advice. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I make videos every day, because if I have advice to give or something important to say that I feel is important to say within reason, I do that. And guess what? I feel all the better doing so. I can only imagine how my teacher friends feel when they give advice. So just take that into consideration if you're still nervous about going to school. And yeah, you know, sometimes if you want to ask a teacher advice, it may not be a good time for them to do so. But that doesn't mean they won't do it outright. Maybe you just accidentally caught them in a bad time. That happens. Seriously, I can tell you for a fact that granted, I had a veritable luxury and privilege to have some of the best teachers, the most extraordinary men and women I've ever known in my life, be the teachers I had all throughout my entire academic career. So, maybe I am being a bit biased on that part, but I can tell you that those men and women who are my teachers are some of the most extraordinary people I've ever known. And I got to know them because I got to go to school. And again, if you're homeschooler, nothing wrong with that. Again, you have plenty of opportunities in life to meet said extraordinary men and women, but the school provided the perfect platform to do so. And not just teachers either, but just friends or people that you know. There are people that I've known literally since kindergarten. And I'm either friends with them or I still know them to this very day. So, of course, school is going to be tough for you. It is. No one likes going to school. But I guarantee you, all it takes is, you know, a certain group of people. It could be one person, your teacher, or it could be a few teachers, the friends you make for the rest of your life, to instill that level of confidence that you need to take on the world when you're an adult. I will admit, I could still use some of that confidence even now. But with all the people I met throughout my academic career, be they, you know, a faculty, you know, teacher or student, love them or hate them, I'll never forget them. So take that for what it's worth. You know, I really do hope that you like the advice that, you know, I gave you. In fact, I would kill to hear this sort of advice back then. So obviously I can't go back in time, but the best I can do is offer that advice now. So there you go. You know, if I'm very humbled. I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. If any students are watching this, I hope this advice finds you well. I hope this advice finds you well, and I hope you at least take what I said into consideration when going about the course of your day. If you're a teacher watching this, I really hope this makes you feel better about what you do. Because, let's be honest, again, I just mentioned, some teachers, they have bad days too. That's just how it is. So if you're a teacher listening to this, I hope this advice finds you well as well. And again, if you ever want to talk, if a student needs to talk, you can always go to your teacher. Obviously, your parents can go to help, but especially if you know me, if you want to talk, I'm always going to be here to lend and always hear back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.